is extremely important. Look, man, is it Uncle Ben or is it Tony Stark? This is an issue. I'm a Spider-Man fan, okay? And I know that Uncle Ben is Peter Parker's rock. He is the reason why he becomes Spider-Man. His death and his life had a great impact on Peter Parker. And that is a huge component of the character. But because Uncle Ben hasn't been mentioned, or we haven't seen Uncle Ben in the Marvel Cinematic Universe take on Spider-Man, people believe that it's defunct. It's gone. He's not there. Tony Stark has replaced Uncle Ben. Now, it gets even more baffling because for me, I don't really agree at all. And I think that people aren't realistically looking at it. But it gets even more baffling when people begin to say things like, well, if you saw Far From Home, when Mysterio is producing the illusions and it's here lies Tony Stark and he comes out as a zombie, that was a perfect opportunity to put Uncle Ben there. You could have put Uncle Ben there. It's like, so Tony Stark was an Avenger. Spider-Man was an Avenger. Tony Stark died. But there's clearly a relationship between the two because Nick Fury worked with Tony Stark. Quentin Beck knows this because he works with Nick Fury, knows that Tony Stark and Spider-Man had a great relationship, and he knows these things. Or maybe he doesn't even know. Maybe he doesn't know the relationship that Spider-Man and Tony Stark had. But he knew that Tony Stark was a huge component of the Avengers and is now the greatest superhero in history and was an Avenger. And so Spider-Man clearly had admiration toward him. But he died. So that's what Mysterio knows. That's what he knows. How could he put Uncle Ben in that? How could that be Uncle Ben's tomb? How could he put it in that illusion? How would he know that? That's the thing. That's the thing. People aren't looking at it realistically because how does he know, right? I have a person that is a great inspiration to me, a great, my rock, my foundation. And this is a family member that passed. And because you don't know that person existed means that person didn't actually exist to me. Like, what? Wait a minute, hold on. Because you don't know, that means that the person actually didn't exist. Because you don't know something, that means that it didn't happen or doesn't exist or isn't. Like, I have a mentor. I have a mentor. It's like, actually, I'm Spider-Man, right? I have a mentor. And if you met that mentor and that mentor means a great deal to me, if that mentor was to pass away, I would be upset. Like Peter Parker was. Like, you would assume that because you don't know, you would assume, and I understand there's logic behind it, but when I break it down like this, you go, okay, that does. Now, and I'm not saying that the MCU Spider-Man is sophisticated or anything like that. Like, I'm not saying that they're good storytelling, they're making a realistic Spider-Man. No, I'm just saying that they're doing something different, and people aren't used to different things. I mean, you're not used to it. It's new. You're used to Spider-Man being told a certain way. Like, because Peter Parker is not referencing this dead man and saying and speaking about this dead man, my uncle always said, with great power comes great responsibility. Like I don't go, my grandma always said, like, no, I don't do that. Like, no. Like, it's something within, it's internal. Like, I don't have to spew it all the time. I don't have to tell people about it. Like, I don't have to talk about it. Like, and you're saying that because Tony Stark, who was living and had a great impact on Peter Parker, because he was living and had a living, like, it's like, dude, where's Uncle Ben, man? Like, why aren't you talking about Uncle Ben? Because he's dead. Like, it doesn't mean that he didn't have an impact, doesn't have an impact. He's just dead. And I think that in the next Spider-Man movie, we're also going to get that. But it's crazy to me because literally in Far From Home, Peter Parker is holding Uncle Ben's baggage. Like he has Uncle Ben. Like, there's symbolism there. So there's clearly, the reason why Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man is because he says, you have the power to do things, and then you don't, and then the bad things happen. It's your fault, like he says that in Civil War. So there's clearly this conversation has been had to him. He knows. Like, you can't just say, Tony Stark Tony Stark. And then I understand also Homecoming, right? And in Homecoming, he's lifting up the rocks, right? He's lifting up the rocks, and he sees Tony Stark's or here's Tony Stark talking to him. It's because it's most recent. It's because it's most prevalent. My mentor, it means a lot to me. Like that same thing happens to me, but it doesn't mean that my family member in my past didn't have a great impact. And there are times where I confront that. I and that's what I think is going to happen in Spider-Man 3. There's going to be that confronting of it. This or not even a confronting, but just a well, actually, I think it would be more interesting an actual confronting of it, because he just lost his mentor, and before that he lost his uncle. So that there's something there. And now, like, he lost his identity. It's just lost. Like, there is something that can be talked about. And I think it'll all lead to him becoming Spider-Man, becoming a man, becoming, getting closer to where we want him to be. But I think he's going to be really there when we get to the next movie. But he's going to even go farther past where we have seen Spider-Man go. But that's really cool. It's about growth. It's about, but because he hasn't mentioned this dead man, people want to assume, well, he doesn't, Tony Stark has taken that role. No. Let's look at it let's have some logic to it. Let's have some logic, and eventually we'll get there. We will get there, but let's have some logic. He's dead. He's dead. Iron Man saved, like, the world, the universe, basically. Uncle Ben is dead, but it doesn't mean Uncle Ben doesn't have an impact. It hasn't had an impact, isn't there. It just, we haven't seen it, and just because we haven't seen it and he hasn't mentioned it, even though we have he's literally holding Uncle Ben's baggage, like there's this subtle thing in the background that I think is going to be, we already know Spider-Man 3 is going to have to do with him becoming Spider-Man, but there's this thing in the background already there. So, just wait, y'all. Just wait. But let me know. Do you guys agree? Are you like, Venom, what are you talking about? No, they need to do this. They need to do that. Tell me in the comment section. I'm ready to have a conversation. Let's do it down there. Twitter, and subscribe. Like button, because that'll get this video around. If you hit the like button, it'll get me around there, Get us out there, Get us out there, And as always, I thank you all for watching. Venom 2 Million. Peace. Have a good one. Peace, y'all. Subscribe, like, hit the bell, all of it. Peace.